The moment the black SUV rolled to a stop inside Casa de John, you stepped out with a quiet exhale, your eyes immediately drifting towards the detail of the state that had fascinated you since the first day. You stepped here. The sprawling property felt almost unreal, dramatic, palm trees standing tall like silent guards, lining the driveway, and the perfectly shaped black rose bushes blooming on either side like dark, velvety secrets whispered into the garden. They were beautiful in a haunting, intimidating way, much like the family whose home you were now entering as a wife. Yunu closed his door with a harsh slam that echoed against the stone walls, making you flinch as you hugged your bouquet closer to your chest. For a moment, Jungkook, as composed, as cold as ever, simply walked ahead without glancing back, his step firm and calculated, while Yunu lingered only long enough to glare at the house as if it had offended him personally. The SUV rolled into the right garage, and you, still appreciating the beauty around you, turned to Yunu with a polite curiosity. Which garage is yours, right or left? You asked softly, your tone friendly even though his back remained stiff. There was a long, tense pause, one that felt heavier because you could tell he was debating whether responding to you was worth the effort. Finally, in a low, grudging mumble that barely reached your ears, he muttered, "Left." You nodded gently, your expression neutral, though inside you felt you had learned a small detail about the man who had spent the whole day treating you like an inconvenience. When no one spoke further, you followed silently into the foyer where your breath caught at the sight of the white marble staircase sweeping upward like something out of an imperial palace. Your gaze drifted to the left, where two immense archways led to an expensive hallway decorated with gold accents and dark wood, perfectly matching the intimidating wealth this family exuded. Yunwu didn't spare a single glance back. He stormed up the stairs, his jaw tight, his hand clenched, his voice unspoken but clear. He did not want you here. Your steps faltered slightly as you watched him disappear onto the second floor, leaving only the echo of his footsteps behind. Jungkook remained beside you for a moment, watching his son's retreating form with a flash of irritation in his eyes before turning towards you. His expression remained unreadable, but something in his stance told you he was fighting the urge to say more than he should. You will be sharing the same room as him, he informed you, his voice firm and echoing through the marble hall. As you are, after all, husband and wife now. You swallowed gently and nodded, feeling the weight of that statement drop onto your shoulders like another iron chain you didn't ask for. You expected Jungkook to walk away after that. After all, he wasn't the type of linger unnecessarily. But he didn't. Instead, he remained rooted in place, head slightly tilted, eyes watching you in a way that made you straighten unconsciously. For a moment, he seemed almost hesitant, then his gaze locked with yours fully, the hazel in his irises sharpening, as though he was evaluating the kind of wife his son had been forced into marrying. "If Yunu gives you trouble," Jungkook said, stepping closer until his presence filled the space between you, "you can tell me." The words hung in the air, unexpectedly soft but firm enough to assure you he meant them. A strange relief spread subtly through your chest, not because you believed he would actually take your side, but because the offer itself meant you weren't entirely alone in this intimidating house. You studied his expression carefully, noticing that while Jungkook was cold, strict, and emotionally unreadable, there was a certain protective edge beneath his authority that made you feel slightly grounded. You gave him a small, genuine smile, one that he didn't return, but didn't reject either. "Thank you," you whispered, your voice gentle, your gratitude sincere, even though your stomach trembled with anxiety. Jungkook simply nodded once before turning away abruptly, storming off with the same rigid decisiveness his son possessed. You watched both father and son disappear into different hallways, each leaving their own stormy aura in their wake, and in the heavy silence that followed, You stood alone in the massive foyer, your heart racing, your fingers brushing against the cold gold ring now claiming your hand, and the overwhelming realization crashing over you fully. You were now a John, and this house with its roses, its marble, its shadows, and its storm was your home.